Let's begin on the big baseball diamond in the BX. Holy Carpenter! Matt Carpenter is playing with the ghosts of Yankee Stadium rushing through his veins. That's the only way to explain his recent surge, right? He's playing like a man possessed here in the Bronx. The newest Yankee belted his 5th and 6th home run since joining the Bombers, tying his career high by driving in 7 runs while reaching base 4 times last Sunday. New York completed a 3-game sweep of the Cubs, winning for the 11th time in 12 games with an 18-4 victory at Yankee Stadium. I'd say that is good enough to headline here on the front end of 5 on 5. 5 sports stories and recap, and 5 to watch out for. Carp gets his own headline, of course he does, after becoming the first Yankee to hit 6 homers in his first 10 games with the club. Yes, you heard me correctly there. The Yanks nabbed number 4. It isn't wholly surprising that the Bronx Bombers completed a 3-game sweep against Chicago. They are the much better team, of course. They needed 13 innings last Friday night before finally walking things off, but then they blew the Cubs out 8-0 Saturday and totally buried them in Sunday's victory. It is notable, though, because the Yankees are playing at a ridiculous pace. I mean, think about this. They entered this week 44-16. That's a 162-game pace of 119 wins. The record for wins in a season is 116, shared by the 1906 Cubs, coincidentally, and the 2001 Seattle Mariners. Remember the Yankee dynasty from around the turn of the century? I know that you do. The most games that group won in a regular season was 114 in 1998. That is the franchise record for wins here in the Bronx. The Yankees have won at least 105 games 5 times in franchise history. All 5 of those teams went on to capture the World Series. We've got another streaking Yankee coming in the C-list, so stay tuned for something new, all new, brought to you by the BronxNet Boys. In the 3 spot, our Bronx Athlete of the Week takes us to the NFL gridiron. Saquon Barkley has earned his degree from Penn State. It turns out Barkley made the most of his time missed with a knee injury by catching up on his classes, something that you love to see. It is an accomplishment he says he will share with the young people and his family and also the people around the Bronx and New York City. Here's more with our favorite running back, Saquon Barkley.
It feels really good. That's something I wanted to accomplish. Something I had to make a promise to my mom, my dad, and when I had a conversation with Coach Franklin that I'm going to leave early to go to school, he made me promise I'll come back and get my degree too. Been banged up a little bit over the years, so I had a little extra time on my hand that I probably wouldn't have liked, but was able to accomplish that and get my degree.
Did you show it to your daughter? I know that was one of your main initiatives.
Yeah, I mean, she can't really understand that right now yet, but when she get older, it will make a little bit more sense to her. But not just my daughter, my nieces, my nephews, brothers and sisters, my whole family. They're excited for me and happy that I was able to accomplish that, and I'm thankful for all of them.
The 25-year-old is entering his 5th year in the NFL. He was the league's Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2018 after rushing for 1,307 yards and 11 touchdowns, and also catching 91 passes for 721 yards and 4 more scores. He ran for 1,003 yards in his sophomore season, but suffered a knee injury and had just 19 carries in 2020. Side note, most fantasy football projections have Saquon as a top 25 player, especially with the news that the Giants intend to play him all over the field. If healthy, he could be much better than that. We'll be rooting for the Bronx boy for a rebound this season. Saquon Barkley and his newly minted degree earned my BX Athlete of the Week honors this week. In at 2, the Broadway Blue Shirts, the NHL team that built its season and run in the Stanley Cup playoffs on its resiliency, on its ability to come back, to beat the odds time and time again, ran out of gas, unfortunately, for fans here in the Big Apple against the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Eastern Conference Final. The Rangers' season and Stanley Cup dreams ended last Saturday night with a 2-1 road loss in Game 6. It ended with their first 4-game losing streak of the season. We go inside the locker room for more.
Don't honestly have much to say. I just empty. It's don't want it to be over.
I believe that was not the end long-term for the Rangers, but rather just the beginning for this young squad. They are trending in the right direction. Speaking of trending in the right direction, yes, this Liberty star comes in at number 1. Liberty guard Sabrina Ionescu became the youngest player in WNBA history to post multiple career doubles as she achieves that feat in last Sunday's 88-86 loss to the Chicago Sky. The 24-year-old also became the first player in league history to have a triple-double in the first 3 quarters of a WNBA game. Let's check in with the WNBA Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
I'm just trying to do my part and continue to get better every single day, continuing to learn from my teammates, from this coaching staff, and continue to just put one foot in front of the other and get better. That's what my goal is. That's what our goal as a team is just focus on what we can, focus on the controllables, and get better.
Looking ahead, in at number 1, only 2 teams entered this week in Major League Baseball with 40 wins, and they both called New York home. We mentioned the Yankees earlier in this roundup, but we cannot forget about the Mets. The Amazons took 2 of 3 from the LA Angels last weekend. This weekend, they'll be home to face the Miami Marlins. Meantime, in here at number 2, the Yanks will be in Toronto for a weekend road series against the Jays. Racing in at number 3, NASCAR and IndyCar will take a break this weekend. I got you right there. NASCAR returns in Tennessee in 2 weeks. IndyCar will be back in action the first weekend in July in Mid-Ohio, just in time for the holiday. We have reaction, though, from our 2 race winners from last weekend. First, Joseph Newgarden in IndyCar. He earns a $1 million bonus last Sunday for winning at Road America, where his 3rd win of the season completes a trifecta of victories on IndyCar's different circuits. Newgarden won on the Oval at Texas and then the street course in Long Beach earlier this season, and then he headed to Road America searching for a road course win that would make him the first IndyCar driver to do that this season, to win on all 3 different types of circuits. The money gets split between his team and charity. Here's Joseph Newgarden.
I was just focused on today, the thing that I focus on is we're in position. You don't have any opportunities to be in position to close. I want to just close. And so that's where my head was at today.
And in NASCAR, Daniel Suarez takes home the win in the Cup Series at Sonoma Raceway. In doing so, he becomes the first Mexican-born driver to win the Cup Series. Here's more.
Today felt good, and we did it in front of a few hundred Mexicans in India's Amigos. So it was just a special day. You know, I have always seen California as my second home, and to be able to get the first victory here is quite special.
And we'll wrap this roundup with an on this date in Bronx sports history. Flashback to June 17th, 1978. That's when Ron Guidry set an American League record for most strikeouts by a left-handed pitcher in a single Major League Baseball game. The Yankee ace struck out 18 California Angels in picking up a 4-0 victory during his magical Cy Young Award year, and wound up his 11th consecutive victory without a loss for the Pinstripers. That performance will help coin a new nickname for Guidry as the team's announcer, the late, great Phil Rizzuto, begins to refer to him as Louisiana Lightning, inspiring a new Yankees tradition as the fans begin to clap each time there are 2 strikes on the batter on this day in the Bronx in 1978. To the C-list for a new concept that is very well deserved. We are calling this portion of the segment the Judge Report, and rolling it out right here in my C-list. Aaron Judge is having a season to remember. Good for him in a contract year, maybe not so good for the Yankees. Well, it's obviously good for the Yankees, right? He's on a record pace for home runs this season, so much so he's not only in the combo for perhaps chasing down Barry Bonds and the all-time single-season mark of 73 set in 2001 in the steroid era, but more so he is on pace to break the Yankees record of 61 set by Roger Maris in 1961. That could legitimately still remain the real home run record in baseball history, if you know what I mean. With that said, weekly here on the show, we will check in on the Judge in our Judge Report. He entered the week on pace for 64 home runs. Through 59 games, Judge smashed 24 homers. Babe Ruth did that for the Yanks in 1921 and 1930. Only the Babe in 1928 and Mickey Mantle in his Triple Crown season of 1956 had more through the first 59 games. Ruth hit 26 and 28. Mantle had 25 and 56, but wouldn't go on to break the Babe's record that year. Despite his amazing season at the plate, he and Maris would chase the Babe just a couple years later in 1961. We know how that ended up. We'll see if the Judge can keep pace here in 2022. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.